Empress here. Let me just say that you look amazing. So I thought I would do another video. I've gotten a couple of messages from my last video, and I'm really glad that people are asking questions. And remember, you can always email me, empressanswers@hotmail.com. You can also leave a comment below, and I will answer it that way too. And one of the questions was about meeting narcissists that aren't in your family. She was inquiring about some of the places where she's felt she's met some. And so there was a couple of things I wanted to mention, because as I have become, I'm going to use the word more conscious about just how prevalent this personality disorder is, a lot of things started clicking for me. Okay, and this is what you're going to find, right? Once the light switch gets switched, you're going to start being able to see how the puzzle pieces link together. And so, I don't want any hate from the dating websites, but you will find dating websites are packed full of narcissists. So, it just so happens that the narcissist I'm dealing with currently, well, I should say, I'm dealing with more than one actually, but the fling that is, causing me so much grief right now, I met on Tinder. And as a matter of fact, again, after you start putting these puzzle pieces together, I've met at least 3 or 4 on Tinder. So again, Tinder, Plenty of Fish, Match.com, I'm not going to say that they're not on sites like eHarmony, but those sites require you to put a lot more information that a narcissist just won't do. Okay, so, in the example of the one that's causing me the most grief now, that, is probably a sociopath as well too. I mean, there was zero information. It was his name, just his name. And so you'll find that that's kind of a common trait amongst narcissists, is they don't divulge a lot of personal information because they just don't care that you know. Right? It's kind of like they really are bare bones on sharing things about themselves. So one of the things that's really big right now, and I may get a lot of hate about this too, and I am coming to the conclusion that this is just a really great way of marketing, is the twin flame term. Okay, and in a twin flame journey, if you will, there's this what they call the runner and the chaser, right? One person is running and the other person is chasing. This is a narcissistic relationship, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so, and I have to say, it just so happens that the narcissist I'm referring to has deleted all those videos off my YouTube channel, off an old YouTube channel that I had. Which is why I've created this new one. And I'd love it if you subscribed, by the way. But, I did think that this guy was a twin flame. And, now that I know in my heart what a twin flame is, I think I know he was, because he's a narcissist, right? But it's not normal in a relationship when you meet someone and you like each other for one person to ghost somebody and the other to be constantly trying to get a hold of somebody. That is not an equal give and take. That is not a healthy relationship. So, if you're somebody who happens to think you're in a twin flame and you're in this runner-chaser mode, then really pay attention to the potential red flags, because in my opinion, I'm going to say there's a 98.9999999% chance that this is a narcissistic relationship. Because again, when it's healthy and you like each other, then you communicate, right? You see one another, you interact. There's not ghosting, okay? If someone's ghosting you, i.e. not talking to you, gray rocking you, that is not a normal, healthy relationship. That is a huge red flag, okay? If somebody is non-monogamous, okay? Now, I'm not saying that every person you date, should only be sleeping with you, but if they're the player, if they're a fuck boy or a fuck girl, that is a huge red flag that you're dealing with a narcissist, right? Because they cannot settle down, because if they were to, that would be having feelings, that would be getting attached to someone, which they just simply cannot do. I also want to say, because I was asked this question, if it's only people who were in abusive households that are narcissists. And no, sometimes the spoiled brats, right? The children that were totally coddled, that never had to deal with consequences, where family constantly swept up and cleaned up their messes. This breeds narcissism as well too, because they then have this God complex that no matter what they do, it's going to be fine. And so they then look for relationships where the person's going to do all the work and they just have to kind of sit there and receive. So it's not only abusive, households. It is when somebody has had a total, golden spoon in their mouth the whole time and they just can't deal with anything themselves, right? This is what, becomes a narcissist. And I also want to say that this typically happens around the age of 7, right? You typically get all of your beliefs on how the world works and consequences or lack thereof. When you're up until about 5 or 6, this is how you really start to be molded on how the world works. So by 7 is when somebody is somewhat concretely on this path to being a narcissist. So it's not, again, something that when you bump into somebody in their mid-30s that they're going to be able to change when they've been doing it for decades and decades. So just some of the red flags for those that asked, it's somebody who absolutely can never say that they're the ones that's done anything wrong, right? You are at fault for everything. They're non-monogamous to a fault, right? i.e. they have to have lots and lots and lots and lots of lovers because that's how they have to keep their supply up, right? And they keep these lovers, which is where the ghosting comes in, on the back burner. So you may find, bump up into a narcissist, you really hit it off because they're giving you this love bomb phase. And then once they know they've got their hooks in you, they ghost you and they start on another one. And then that process, and then they may circle back around to you, or you may circle back around to them. And it's this revolving door, right? So that's a huge red flag. And like I said, these dating websites like Tinder and Plenty of Fish, where the premise is kind of to go out and have a good time, is just a breeding ground for narcissism, because it's almost socially acceptable that you're just going to go and hook up. So your guard is down somewhat, right? Because if you're thinking, you just got out of a relationship, so you're not looking for a huge commitment, this is where they find you. So if you're an empath like myself, then they love you because your energy is very high, you've got a big spirit, and they can leech for long periods of time. So narcissists have to have empaths, although they can be in relationships with other narcissists, but they hate each other, okay? It's a total hate type of relationship. So in my example, on the one that, has really been one of the sole reasons I'm stuck in this homeless situation, his wife is a narcissist as well too, or at least one of them, and they live together and they absolutely hate each other, but they're so dependent upon each other that, that's what keeps them together, right? They both do their own thing. They both, hate each other. She's the one with the money, so that keeps him around too. That's the other thing. They need a lot of money because they're very showy. So, you know, if you're somebody who's easily dependent on other people for emotional support, you are absolutely a trap, you know, like a magnet to a narcissist, because they want that. They want you to feel like you have to live, you know, you can't live without them. That's what keeps you in these relationships longer. So I just thought I would share that. You know, I'm not really looking for hate from the dating sites about this. Just know that if you're on them, that you've got a very good chance. You know, I'm going to say upwards of 85, 88% chance that someone you're going to catch is going to be a narcissist. Obviously, there are empaths on there. I was on there, but they're few and far between. So I would suggest allowing the universe to somewhat orchestrate the meetings rather than going to the swamps where you have a very good chance of catching them. So I just thought I'd share that. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. You can also email me at empressanswers@hotmail.com, and we'll see you on the next video. I love you.